death is defeated. That means that no matter what happens in this world, what happens to us, what happens in our families' lives, it isn't the end. It isn't the end. Death isn't the end for us. Verse 22 says, "So with you, now is your time of grief, but I will see you again, and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy." And because of this, we can hold tight to this hope. We can hold fast to the sure and certain hope of Jesus' resurrection power. Whatever we're facing, whatever we will face, whatever pain, whatever sorrow we carry, however many unanswered questions and burdens and heartache we have to remember that death is defeated. Our sins are forgiven. And Jesus' resurrection power is able to renew us. And it goes on renewing us. When we sing that song, we sing Glorious Day. We run out of the grave, out of the darkness, into that glorious day. What are we actually singing? We're singing about spiritual resurrection, the power of the resurrection operating in our lives in the here and the now. It's power to renew us. It's power that makes us new. It's power that regenerates our hearts, that sanctifies our hearts, and then continues to renew our hearts. It's Jesus' resurrection power that is working in our bodies, in our minds, and in our hearts over and over and over again. I love the way how John Updike, he's an American prize-winning novelist, he put it like this. He said, "If the cell's dissolution did not reverse, the molecules reknit, the amino acids rekindle, the church will fall." You see, everything depends upon the physical, bodily resurrection of Jesus Christ. I was reading recently about a father who was struggling because his young daughter had asked him a question, and the question was, "Daddy, if Jesus died on the cross for us, then why did Mummy have to die?" And he couldn't find an answer, and so he said to his young daughter, "Could you give me some time to think about that?" And one day they were out in the car and they were pulled up at some traffic lights, and traffic was passing them by. And they were positioned in such a way that the angle of the sun meant that as a truck passed them by, the shadow of the truck fell over their car. And it gave this father an idea. And he said to his girl, "Darling, what would you rather happen? Would you rather be run over by a truck or run over by the shadow of the truck?" And she said, "Well, Daddy, by the shadow of the truck, of course, because to be run over by the truck would be awful. It would be so painful. It would be so dangerous. It would be agony for me." And the father said to his young daughter, he said, "Darling, this is what happened. When Jesus died on the cross, he took on the truck of death. But when Mummy died, she just went through the shadow of death." When we die, we just go through the shadow of death. Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life." And if we believe in him, we will never see death. Why? Because he took on death itself. He took the sting out of death. He conquered death. He defeated the enemy. So we can hold fast to this sure and certain hope of resurrection power. Because when we face it, we're not facing death as it really is. We're not facing it as it was for Jesus. We are facing the shadow of death. So we can sing, "No guilt in life, no fear in death. This is the power of Christ in me." From life's first cry to final breath, Jesus commands my destiny. No power of hell, no scheme of man can ever pluck me from his hand. Till he returns or calls me home, here in the power of Christ I stand.